pull this one out of the bag. Oh man, it's windy out here today. Crazy. So I started the day out and I trolled around to find some bait, and then I decided that I was gonna just, once I found some bait, because I figured the bait had all moved deep. The water temperatures are super cold up here. It's early October, and so I decided once I found the bait, I was gonna deploy a sucker and then I was gonna jig. So I did that for about an hour and I got nothing. So I just switched back to trolling again. I changed out to that polar puffin matlock, and you can just see on, it was a 10-inch matlock, you could just see on the video, man, I got so lucky. That bait popped off just as I got that fish in the net, and luckily the fish actually swam into the net and dropped instead of dropping out. So I got lucky. This is a nice chunky fish. I can't wait to pull it out of here and see how big it is. She's over 40. Oh yeah, now that's a chunky northern Wisconsin muskie. Whew, man, that guy is chunky. Big one. That's a nice fish. Pretty happy with that one. Let's put it on the bump board. She measures up at 41. Look at that. All right, let's get that one back in the water. She's gonna fire off like a rocket. Well, there you have it. So that was the first one of the day. I'm obviously, since I got one trolling, I might as well keep on that tactic. So musky in the net, that was successful. A small body of water, and that was built. I mean, that fish was built really well. It was a great fish, fat one. It was only 41, but man, I'll take that any day. So I'm gonna get back to it. Hopefully I can get another one. Boy, I forgot how cold it is out here fishing in the fall. It's been a little while since I've done this consistently. So we had a request from Dan from the Outdoor Trade Show channel, and Dan wanted us to kind of go over like the why of why we do certain things. So I'll talk a little bit about today's fish. Hopefully I'll get a shot at one more. I got about an hour yet. I got out at about noon. So I had roughly 6.5 hours to try to put a muskie in a boat on a lake that I'm pretty familiar with, but not super familiar with. My plan today was actually to jig and use suckers, because in the fall I found deep bait out here, and when I say deep bait, I mean we're in roughly 25 feet of water, and the bait is roughly 15 feet down. So to reach those depths, I can control a sucker and I can control a jig. So I know that those two baits are gonna work. Now when it comes to those, I couldn't get any, I didn't get any reactions. Nothing came up on a sucker, but I knew they were there. I marked them on my side imaging, because what I did first is I scanned the area that I was gonna fish. I made sure that the bait was here. When I found out that it was here, I decided to fish. So I trolled around for just a little bit, but my main tactic for the day was going to be to cast, because I mean I like trolling. I wouldn't consider myself in either, like I don't consider myself a troller or a caster. I consider myself a weekend guy who gets out and wants to put a muskie in the boat, so I'll do any way I can. All right, so that didn't work out. And then what I did is I switched up to a matlock. It wasn't this color because my my matlock is still in the water. But anyways, the reason I chose the matlock is it's pretty erratic at a slow speed, and I knew at this time of year I'd only be fishing in it. I knew I'd only be trolling at about 3 miles an hour. So it does the job for that. I also knew that I could get it 15 feet down without having to let out a ton of line. So mission accomplished on both of those. As you saw in the video, I got myself a muskie. Now, you know, one little tip on trolling is, guys don't always think about it, is one thing about it is when you run line out on a bait, let's say for today, this Mattlock is going to get me roughly 4 feet down for every 10 feet of line I let out. So I wanted to get the bait down about 12 feet, and so I let out about 30 feet of line. So that's just kind of how it is. Each crankbait that you use, it'll have a different like formula, I guess I would say. They have a different dive curve. There's books that are out there that you can look into. Musky Mike's Trolling Secrets is one that you can get a good variety of dive charts on. Some of the new ones, you're not going to necessarily find them. You can contact the manufacturer and see if they know. So the other way you could do it is find a shallow part in a lake, say a 7-foot rock flat. Do what you got to do to shoot over the top of it until you realize that your bait's banging line. When you feel a line counter, you obviously know about how much line you let out, and then at least that gets you a gauge. So it'd give you X amount of line out, will get you 7 feet down in this example, and then you can kind of gauge it off of that. So those are just a couple tips to try to help you put a couple extra muskies in the boat trolling, and sometimes it just pays to be versatile. That's all I did today, was versatility. I didn't plan to troll, but I brought one rod on a hunch, threw it in the boat, threw a couple trolling baits in there just in case I needed it, and I did. So anyways, I hope I got one more shot at a muskie. If I do, you'll obviously see it after this. If not, thanks again for watching, and we'll see y'all next week. If you like what we're doing, consider subscribing. Thanks again.